Hey everyone, Sumo Spiffy here. A while back, I made a community post based around a video these people made about AI to talk about actual creators in the Sumo community that could use some more attention. I did this because a channel was rising on the back of quickly produced AI Slop. Well, they're still around, and I discovered a couple other very small channels in the same vein have popped up. So it's time for something I haven't done in a while. A creator spotlight to bring some attention to all the people you might find worth watching. But I don't feel like it's enough to point to the AI channels and say AI bad. That's something of a moral judgment, which, I mean, yeah, f those people. Generative AI is based on theft, and they're making probably a solid chunk of money off it. But that's only persuasive to someone who already agrees. I need to show how they're a problem for both individual fans and the community, and why we need to push back where we can rather than purely ignore them because we know they're trash. Now, those other two channels are tiny, I'll get back to them later. First, I needed to see exactly what was going on with the big one. Here's what I knew about them going in. The thumbnails are AI trash. None of the wrestlers look like who they're supposed to be or have expressions anyone's ever caught from them on camera, or both. All the audio is AI generated. The narrators have the uncanny valley cadence typical of current AI voices, and the music is so generic. Let's just say it would be quite surprising if they went this far with AI, but the creator also happens to be a mediocre DJ. Here's where I made educated guesses. The scripts are AI generated. This isn't based on what little I'd seen, but the rate of production. It's not possible to make content of this scope, 15 to 20 minutes each, at a rate of 2 per week without AI unless you have a whole team of scriptwriters. That's for creators with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, not dinky niche content channels like this. It could be that someone on the other end was taking the AI scripts and cleaning them up, but there's no chance they wrote any of it from scratch. Their visuals seem to be basic panning over still photos and grabbing fight clips. A person could do that fairly quickly. A 15-minute video based around stills and fight clips wouldn't be hard to make in a couple days if you had all the audio set up and ready to go. Given how quickly they were gaining subscribers, I figured this was probably what made the difference here versus other AI slop, that little bit of a human touch. Viewer, I drastically overestimated what humanity might be present in these videos. They have 131 posted, but it only took 3 to find all the examples I needed as evidence for what a complete shit show they are. I subjected myself to a couple others to make sure they were just as bad, and they were, but I could have stopped at 3. As for details, first, forget the thumbnails. They're not the content and are a minor issue in the grand scheme. I was going to ignore the audio too until I heard this.
It needed a mono too.
Yeah, the AI read mono-e as mono-2. The issue here isn't even the pronunciation, it's that this is easy to fix by spelling it phonetically, so nobody is trying to fix even the most basic errors. For the visuals, I gave them too much credit because I forgot there are AI tools that will, in fact, just make a whole ass video for you. What I'd been thinking was, if AI made a video, it made the video, like the video itself was AI generated. I knew this channel used a lot of fight clips, so those had to be put in by a person, right? Nope. I'm sure plenty of you knew that, but I'm still gonna show what clued me in. First, around 105 of this video about Asashoryu being banished, they talk about him being born in Mongolia into a family deeply rooted in wrestling. And then they have this clip of WWE style pro wrestlers. I think it's an AI generated clip, but that's not what matters because then they talk about Asashoryu's father while showing another pro wrestling clip. Only AI could choose pro wrestling clips for this section. If a person did the editing and could find nothing about Mongolian wrestling, they would just use Sumo. The very next video I checked about aggressive Asashoryu has this clip around 150, this at 230, and then this match with Musoyama at 240. I found the Musoyama clip pretty quickly, and what they have is the real fight. But do you see a difference between the Musoyama clip and what they have? Yeah, this floating thing showing what basho it's from. This is not on any recording I've ever seen, and the idea it might be real is absurd because it's not even able to stay in one spot on the screen. An actual person looking for the Musoyama fight would have found it in 5 seconds and been able to use it here like I am. The only way this floating thing is here is if AI puts the whole thing together. They had obvious AI generated video too, but that's not as much the point as I expected. It's the choice of what types of video to use and where. When it slips, and it slips often enough to be a theme, you can see AI is running the whole show, and this is a constant in their work. But then the scripting. My god, the scripting. I had to take some examples out just to stop this from getting too long, and it's still longer than I wanted, but these have to be shared. First, the aggressive Asashoryu video 7 seconds in.
At just 18, Asashoryu stunned the world, claiming 25 titles.
Yeah, apparently at 18, Asashoryu won 25 titles. In reality, Asashoryu started his career at 18 and ended up winning 25 titles. The computer somehow turned that into him stunning the world at 18 with 25 titles. Amazing. The last two are from this video about who Aonishiki can't beat, supposedly, posted a week before I'm recording this. First, briefly, there's this bit at 4:14 about Aonishiki's Uchi Muso, which they say is responsible for 20% of his wins. Yeah, not so much. If you just counted the Uchi Muso and the Yorikiri, it would still barely break 10%. So if anyone's thinking, I know it's all automated, but at least we get information, you can't trust the information. The real glory, though, is in a 2-minute section from 6:38 to 8:38 about how good Churanaumi is against Aonishiki. I'm pretty sure the computer broke trying to comprehend this argument. And yeah, we're gonna go through most of it because there's no other way to truly grasp the madness at play.
He doesn't even rank close to Aonishiki on the Banzuke, and yet, every time they meet, the Ozeki ends up with a problem he can't quite solve.
I mean, he solved it pretty well in their second match, but this is nothing so far.
On day 4 of the Harubasho 2026, the Japan Sumo Association recorded Churanumi's victory over Aonishiki by Yorita Oshi.
This is the most AI phrasing, but technically correct. This next part, though.
Meaning, the story of this matchup is not one of clear dominance by Aonishiki.
What the fuck? Seriously, this is what they said with some of the fluff removed. On day 14 of the Basho, Churanaumi's victory over Aonishiki was recorded as Yori Tayoshi, meaning the story of this matchup is not one of clear dominance by Aonishiki. I assume it's trying to say Chura winning again means Aonishiki doesn't dominate, but the way it's written, it's saying Chura winning by Yori Tayoshi is the reason. Plus, at this point, they haven't even mentioned the head-to-head, so there's no context for any of this. It's absolutely batshit. And I didn't even let the bot finish the sentence.
But one of a much more refined and uncomfortable rivalry.
A refined and uncomfortable rivalry. Truly one of the phrases of all time.
Churanaumi is not an untested opponent. He stands at 5 feet 8 inches, weighs 335 pounds, and his official style is Hidariyotsu Yori.
Apparently being 5'8", 335 with this style means he's tested, I guess.
The clash between the two had already been showing signs before that March 2026 bout.
Signs of what? Signs of what? Next, they mentioned a head-to-head. Okay.
So Churanaumi doesn't beat him by surprise once and disappear.
That's a fair enough statement. Wait for it.
He forces him to resolve, leaves him with an answer, and then changes the question again.
I don't even know what to do with this. He forces him to resolve. He is forced to resolve. Let us force our enemy to resolve. But like, that's such a crazy line, I didn't even catch the follow-up at first. He leaves him with an answer, then changes the question. I mean, he sounds like the most douchebag teacher of all time.
Isn't this where a technical match becomes really dangerous?
Why would it be dangerous?
His official profile shows that his most used techniques are Oshidashi, Okuridashi, and Yorikiri.
Okay, this checks out, although Yorikiri is the second most common.
A mix that allows him to win both by pushing and by controlling the body and reading the moment.
And reading the moment. I'm starting to believe technology's advanced to where we can give the computer an edible.
This is precisely what complicates Aonishiki.
Apparently, it's not the matchup or the tactics that are complicated. Aonishiki himself is becoming complicated by Churanaumi.
He doesn't always face a single straightforward solution.
You don't face solutions, you face questions. Holy Jesus. There's still like 20 seconds left in this section, but I am stopping there. None of the rest is quite as interesting as this, and I can't put myself or you through it. Okay, why am I bringing all this up? For one, what's obvious to some of us won't be obvious to all. It's worth going through this for anyone who thought these videos were maybe partly AI to show it's 100% AI, especially since even I didn't initially think they were 100% AI. And when I started writing this, I thought I was doing it to make sure more people knew all the creators out there so a lazy AI user couldn't snatch up all the eyeballs smaller creators need to grow. When they're fully AI though, the paradigm changes. A more niche topic like this may not have as high a ceiling in terms of viewership, but a channel like this can soak up a larger percentage of it simply by churning out video after video after video. If the sport gains in popularity, they get to ride the crest of the wave, but if it loses steam, they can just bail and find something else. They're essentially trying to strip mine our community. They're going to take everything they can and they'll move on when there's nothing left worth even the minimal effort they're putting forth. And while that has costs for everyone, those costs aren't borne equally. Those of us with more of a footprint will manage because we're already connected enough to the algorithm that it's tough to kick us out. More of the cost instead lands on smaller creators who have trouble gaining traction because people who put Sumo in the search box find AI trash instead of, once in a while, any of them. And the reason the tiny AI channels matter is, if people keep autoplaying AI slop, now that there are more such channels, more AI slop is likely to autoplay or land on their feed instead of actual human-made content. The algorithm is a snowball, and ignoring it won't stop it. Maybe we can't do more than point out the problems and try to direct fans towards actual people, but that's still something we can do. Alright, that's enough about our future robotic overlords. Let's talk about the people. I've collected as many names as I could, so we'll have plenty of options of actual humans to listen to and connect with over Sumo. I'm gonna mention some bigger creators, but I really hope you'll check out some of the ones you didn't know before. Starting with the streamers. If you want to watch the action live, there are some streamers doing the good work of bringing that to you. However, I've already seen some get picked off temporarily or permanently, and not all that long ago. And even though certain folks seem immune to consequence, I don't want to be responsible for anyone's favorite streamer getting kicked offline. If you want to know who they are, hit the comments or maybe our brand new Discord server, and I'm sure you'll get all the streamer information you could want. On the other hand, there are plenty of regular old creators you can enjoy who are only minimally automated. I'm grouping them by style and type of content, so someone being further up or down the list is because that's how I organize things, not because I like them more or less than the others. Here we go, starting with more newsy or informational folks. Chris Sumo. If you're watching this, there's an excellent chance you know about Chris, but for those who don't, he's a Brit living in Japan who does a lot of translating and reporting on Sumo from closer to the source than the rest of us are. He developed a bit of a rep for creating narratives that skewed too far from the facts of the story, but I've only noticed it once in the last couple years. He's a key news source for the community, and it's always worth keeping up what he's sharing from Sumo's home base. Josukoi Sumo Salon. They're not on YouTube, but I'll link it in the comments. It's hard for me to find time to watch, but when I do, I always learn something. Jackie Sumo. Jackie gets my gold star of potential. She's got a good sense for topics, and more importantly, she speaks into the camera. It's a difficult thing to do when you're working off a script, but it's a huge professionalism boost compared to glancing between the camera and the screen. For someone only 4 months and 10 videos into her Sumo YouTube career, it's impressive as hell. All that said, Jackie, if you want to take those early YouTube payouts and replace this AI banner, Yuri is available for commissions. She makes our Sumo Kittens art and other non-cat related work too. If her style isn't what you're looking for, fall down the right rabbit hole on Blue Sky and you'll trip over 100 more artists happy for the work. You know, if you want to. Sumo Files. Sumo Files started out with daily commentary, but branched out into more news and information, and he's good at it. The topics he touches on might appear somewhat random, but he puts out short videos at a high rate so he can talk about subjects of community-wide interest and people you've never heard of. And all that's between the bashos. During the bashos, he still puts out his daily analysis. Sumo Jojo. Most of Jojo's 26 videos are in the preview or review vein, and those are fine, but he really got attention for his video about Aonishiki potentially being Europe's first Yokozuna. Plus, his editing is super sharp, so I'm grouping him with the more newsy channels. Sumo Sensei. Sumo Sensei is quite different from any other sumo creator in that he works 100% with shorts. Most of the creators I'm talking about have relatively short videos, but all of his are by definition 3 minutes or less, and they're good. I'm not going to say he should make longer videos because he's obviously comfortable with this, but straight up, I'd be very interested in seeing his informational videos in a regular video format even if they're still brief. Sumo Primetime. Hiro Morita's show is a nice starting point for pro sumo to reach out to more of an English-speaking audience. That said, it's mostly fluff, but Hiro's easy to listen to, and if you just want to feel good about sumo, it is a solid choice. Moving on to our more Moving on to our more Moving on to more competition-focused channels, we gotta start with Sumo Jason. Longtime fans know Jason was cut down during the dark times when NHK took a bat to everyone on YouTube who used their footage for anything recent. It's a nod to his popularity then that his remade channel is at 18,000 subs, more than any fan-style English language channels besides Chris. These days he focuses on longer form daily summaries, often 20 to 30 minutes. It's a lot to say about a single day of action, but Jason's got that level of knowledge. He goes on camera, but it's more of a listen than a watch. Try it out and see if it fits what you're looking for. Mr. J-Wags. J-Wags puts out a decent number of videos between Bashos, but I'm putting him with Jason because pretty much all of it falls in the vein of talking about what happened or what's going to happen. The videos are mostly of him talking, but on top of having done this for a long time, he's still got a lot of energy for the sport. Kinboshi Sumo. I'm grouping Kinboshi Sumo here because the vast majority of his videos are preview-review style, but he does have the occasional short essay style video too. How do we grow more international stars like Aonishiki, for example, is a topic I haven't seen anywhere else. It's good stuff. Sumo Geek. Sumo Geek has a lot of informational stuff about the Bashos edited over music with a minimum of talking. If you like that kind of thing, it's solid. But if you hear him talk, it's like, bro, talk more, your voice is good. Honestly, go to his channel, listen to the first part of most videos, and leave a comment if you agree with me. Let's Learn Sumo. Let's Learn Sumo makes audio-only content. His recording volume is relatively low, so you'll need to turn it up, but he talks about every day of the Bashos, so he's someone you can listen to while the action's going on. We hold out hope that his AI thumbnails never come back.
Bruh.
Speaking of podcasts, Grand Sumo Breakdown. Their podcast is available off YouTube, which is probably why they might have more people on their Discord than subscribers to their channel. Most of their casts focus on Bashos or Banzukes, but others are more wide-ranging. They're also involved in the amateur side of the sport, although I don't know how much that plays into the content. What I do know is they average about 4 podcasts per month, rarely under 50 minutes, so there's plenty to enjoy. Sumo Kaboom! A pair of sisters who have nearly 300 podcast episodes under their belt, and they put in the work. I mean, they've got Aonishiki online for an interview. Respect the hustle and at least watch that interview, then see if they're up your alley more generally. By the way, while I'm pretty sure Grand Sumo Breakdown's podcasts all end up on YouTube, that's not the case for Sumo Kaboom. I'll link the outside sites for both, but you'll actually need to go to Sumo Kaboom's site if you want to listen to all of their work. New to Sumo Podcast. I was going to put New to Sumo first since they invited me on for an episode and my ego is a very important thing, but I needed to respect the elders in the space. Anyway, New to Sumo, very simply, is a very good podcast that lives up to the channel's name. Cyberstag and Mackie speak with a growing level of knowledge, but also in a way that explores the sport and shows their learning process. It is, in fact, a good listen for fans new to sumo. 42 Opinions. Think of 42 Opinions as a longer form New to Sumo. They stick to a preview and a review of each Basho, but each episode runs at least 2 hours, sometimes 3. It's really a question of how much sumo podcast you want. And there's one specialty channel I stumbled across. Sumo Menko Man. This is a channel devoted to sumo collector cards. I don't know anything about them, but the Grand Sumo Breakdown Discord has a whole channel devoted to them, so I guess there's an audience. Next, briefly, some creators whose channels are updated rarely or not at all anymore, but what they have is still worth checking out. Don Don. I don't know if Don Don's main channel gets updates now, but he has a second channel that does put up videos during Bashos, so he's still active. Sumo Scott. Previously World of Sumo, Scott's pretty busy, taking over the amateur sumo scene, but he does upload occasionally. Biggest fan of Taka Keisho. I thought this channel was done, but a few months ago they made a 30-minute Battle Hamster tribute. I just think people should know that it's there. Sumo Stew, the legend whose videos still resonate with fans new and old, always worth a watch. Sarah Likes Sumo, quite a few fun compilations you're not going to find anywhere else. I don't know how she found some of the old footage in these. Inside the Dohyo, hasn't uploaded in 3 years, but it feels like a time capsule of one sumo fan's interest just as international interest started ramping up. And Sumo Paris and All Good Sumo have oodles of old fight videos. A lot of sumo stables have channels now too, and several upload videos with actual English subtitles rather than rely on the auto-generated ones. Futagoyama has by far the most subscribers and, anecdotally, is the stable I see referred to most often. But Kisei, Isekahama, Hidenoyama, Tatsunami, and Takasago all upload with intentional English subtitles. Oshima, Tamanoi, Shikoroyama, Otake, and Musashigawa all let auto-generated subtitles do the work. Musashigawa surprised me in this way because their stable master is ex-Musashimaru and American, but it is what it is. And finally, here's a quick list of amateur-focused channels. There are a lot of people starting to upload amateur content, so apart from the obvious USA Sumo, I stuck with channels I found that seem to have found a bit of traction. Sensei Seth also competes in amateur sumo, and his videos on that experience are really good too. Alrighty, those are the people you might want to check out and why AI channels can burn in the 7th level of hell. And yeah, we have a Discord now.
And there was much rejoicing.
It's very work in progress, but I figured it'd be a nice thing to do once we hit 10k subs, which I'm trusting we'll do with this video. I mean, I'm not going to take it down if we don't hit 10k on this one, but I will be very sad.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Basho soon! Huzzah! Enjoy the action, and I will see you soon.